need to talk about the recent FTC ruling. Let's grab a cup of coffee.
Okay.
So it's my understanding under this new ruling, you can in fact mix and match some aftermarket parts in that upgrade. But what it comes down to is how it's tuned.
Yes.
Is that correct? So
Yes.
let me give you an example. So say someone wants one of your 128 or 131 kits or something like that. It is in fact okay for them to use another aftermarket brand of exhaust.
It's their choice, yes.
They can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it may impact the warranty, but not.
It won't red flag.
It won't red flag. So what it comes down to is the tune.
Yes.
That's correct, right?
That is where Harley-Davidson sees, because Harley-Davidson has a higher up on their shoulders of the EPA and the CARB and all that. And the minute you change the tune, you've implicated those that we have to keep stringent control over. Now, the aftermarket exhaust that you put on, if for some reason that comes loose at the heads, whatever, and destroy the heads, that's something on you.
That's a gray area.
Let's just say a customer buys the 131, all right, but he wants the Bub True Duals exhaust system on it. Can he do that? Yes, it's his choice. He can do that. Let's say he likes the new S&S Stealth air cleaner instead of the Harley one. Can he do that? Yeah, it's his choice. He can put it on there. It's when he wants to tune the bike with a different tuner than the Harley EPA CARB approved mapping, that's when things get flagged.
Okay, so it's when you're plugging it in, obviously the digital tech isn't saying to the motor company it has this exhaust on it.
Nope,
they don't know.
Idea.
They don't know, and under the new ruling, a customer can do that.
Yes.
They can mix and match parts. Where the problem comes in is the tune, because that's one of the limitations that we were talking about earlier. Because for factory warranty, you have that compliance that you have to stick with. So that tune has to be compliant.
Right.
And if it's not, that's when the screen comes up, right?
Right.
Okay. So here's, as an independent shop, well, you too, it's a concern for you as well. So let's say someone has mixed and matched those parts, which they can absolutely do. Each component can modify the requirement of a tune. Right? A different exhaust system, baffle length, baffle design, air cleaner, all of these things can have a drastic effect. And I actually find, I'm sure you'll agree, we've both been doing this a very long time, it seems that M8s are more sensitive to smaller changes than, say, what the twin cam was, for example.
Yes.
Right? So a slightly different air cleaner or slightly different baffle and exhaust can radically change the tune. And I even find, oddly enough, riding styles make a big impact. So when we complete an engine, I'll ride it. I do on-street data logging. I want to verify everything. I want to see everything that bike's doing. I can put one of my techs on the bike, and on some combinations, you would almost swear it was a different motorcycle.
The way they ride it.
With the way they ride it, how quickly they snatch the throttle, that instant burst of acceleration, fuel, all of those things can affect the tune. So where I'm going with all that, you have requirements that you have to stay within. And if a customer having that ability to mix and match those parts, the factory cannot possibly test every combination of part.
No.
They can't do it, nor should they have to. It's aftermarket parts. They don't have to speak for aftermarket parts necessarily. But I think what people need to understand is, while they can choose different parts, that combination of parts may require tuning that is beyond the capability.
There's the key. We have a limit on how much fuel we can add, what the timing can be changed in the program, because it was designed for Harley products. That ability to change, to tune, is to fine tune, because one Softail is not going to be like the other Softail. They have different stack up tolerances. So we're able to massage a little bit of fuel here or there, lean or up and down on it. You come to me and say, I want to put this True Dual system on it. Will the tuner work with it? I don't know, but 9 times out of 10, no, because I'm going to reach my limit before the exhaust system has its limits.
And that puts an enormous amount of responsibility on you as a technician, your parts people,
Yep.
And someone even selling a bike. Knowing if someone's buying a bike to modify, it puts a great deal of responsibility on them, because having to then know and understand the mechanical variances that come into play with those combination of parts. And there is no way for you to know really that combination of parts, because you can't test everything either.
Right.
That combination of parts, will it produce a need for tuning outside capability of the street tuner and maintain EPA compliance and all of those,
and
other
live up
types
to
of
the
things.
customer's expectations.
Yes.
I want this combination to give me more, and possibly at an independent shop with a different tune capabilities. Yes,
Sure.
This may come up to your expectations, but I have a limit of what I can do, and I am going to tune it to make it as safe as possible. I don't want a lean area over here. I don't want it to stumble when you're leaving the stop sign and going into an intersection. But you are right that as dealerships, parts people, salesmen selling you the bike, they have to explain. There are limits, and that's why a lot of dealers only do Harley-Davidson parts, because we know it all works together. Is there more potential in the kits that Harley sells? Yes.
Right.
All right, with different combinations. You have gone through years and years of what works with what to give you this type of thing. And we're kind of behind the 8 ball because we can't test and make sure that all these combinations are going to give you this number here. I've learned when I started learning how to dyno tune, you can put the best parts out of the catalog together, but it may not come out of the dyno the way you want. And the internet has really hurt us in that aspect. This shop puts this, and this together, and they have this high number, and everybody says, okay, I want to order all those 3 parts. Your bike is different. And when they are going to post something on the internet, they're going to post the best that they got with that combination.
Right, exactly. And I think the clarification is very, very important, because it's a very definitive line, actually, that can be crossed, where that people need to understand that this new FTC ruling is not carte blanche. It doesn't mean that you can do anything you want to your motorcycle and you're still covered.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Yes, you have the ability to mix and match other parts, aftermarket parts and everything else. But it's that understanding, if you go too far beyond what the motor company tested as working well with their EPA compliant tuner, and you have to have that understanding of that impact of all the combination of parts. And it takes a lot of R&D to do that. It takes a lot of opportunity, repetition and all that type of stuff. So, before people make, this is the biggest thing I can stress to you guys, before you make a modification on your bike, all of these things have to be considered. If you are wanting to maintain your warranty, then it's the combination of all of these parts. And you have to speak to people that have a tremendous amount of experience that would know what those limitations could be.
Yeah.
Because yes, you can bolt certain parts on a bike and ride it with a very lean air-fuel ratio. Lean makes power.
Yeah.
Lean will make power. Over rich will make power too. But it's the longevity that we're concerned about as well. So you just have to ask yourself as a consumer, when you're spending all this money, this is a big investment, and then you're adding all of these parts to it. You have to ask yourself, what level of confidence you want in the work that you're performing on the bike over the long term. And if you're okay with just mediocre, put the parts on it and drop a tune in it real quick, go ride. But then at the same time, if you do have a defect that arises later, you can't very well expect your local dealer or their motor company to pay for a defect that, quite frankly, they didn't cause.
No.
Right? So it's a decision, keep the warranty or not, work within those limits. So there are certain, like the 131 kit, it's a great kit for EPA compliance and all that stuff. Right. It's a good system. There are cam, exhaust, and throttle body combinations that can produce more power than that on a 114, but you have to step way outside.
Way
you
out.
know, it's a big throttle body, it's big injectors, it's big cam, it's
Yep.
a valve spring change, and you can make tremendous power on smaller size engines. But forget your powertrain warranty.
Yes.
It's over. You're
Yeah.
done because
Yeah.
you know you're riding that limit. So
It's a choice.
yes,
And we want to stress that the factory warranty is there. It has been explained by the FTC on what is expected of you on your side and expected on Harley's side. But you have the choice to put whatever you want on your motorcycle and accept what is taken out of a powertrain warranty. And we've explained earlier too that, okay, you've made that decision. Powertrain warranty, I'm not concerned about it anymore. Your coverage still has the rest of the bike.
mm-hmm.
All right.
Exactly right.
And you keep that relationship with your dealer on that aspect. And when you come to the service desk, let the service writer know, I understand I put this on my motorcycle. I would like to know, is what broke over here, can it be under the warranty part of Harley-Davidson? And we submit it. We're not the ones that make the decision. We take what we have found, we submit it to Harley-Davidson, and they say, yeah, that left speaker is really bad. Let's replace it. Had nothing to do with the huge cam.
Had nothing to do with it.
That we squeezed in this 114.
Exactly. And that's part of where that symbiotic relationship
Yes.
comes in that we talked about in the very first video, right? It would be nice, and you could call me anytime and say, what have you seen with this exhaust combination in maybe one of our SE cams?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think that our tuner would work with that and give us enough room and all of that sort of thing? It's part of that relationship. And if that customer chooses to step outside of that warranty approved world, right, then, and he has a covered failure on an unassociated part, his radio takes a crap on, right? You should be able to call and say, hey, what work has been done on this bike? Hey, no problem, we did this, this, and this. Then you can take care of him on his radio. It's a relationship thing,
it is,
and that's how it.
And it can be a relationship. It doesn't need to be dealer versus independent. Working together, we help supply the dream that the customer wants.
Absolutely. It makes the market better. It makes the sport better. It keeps people on motorcycles.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
That's what we want.
That's what we want. So,
thank you for tuning in. This has been quite an experience here at Low Country Harley-Davidson. I'm Doc Harley, and this is Kevin Baxter, and he'll sign us out.
I like it. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good one.